Hey everybody, welcome to a very special Google Plus Hangout. Coming live from the RBC Canadian Open. I'm not at the Canadian Open, but our guest Hunter Mahan is. Hunter, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. You got it.
And also joining us, one of the VPs of communications here at the tour, Tom Alter. Tom, good afternoon.
Howdy.
Well, Hunter, I think we'll start with one of the more obvious questions. You have kind of a unique history at this tournament after last year. So, why don't you start by maybe just giving us a little refresher of what exactly happened on Saturday of last year's tournament?
Yeah, well, so basically, I had a normal day. I mean, I started the day with a two-shot lead, played well Thursday, Friday, and got to 13 under, and was leading the RBC Canadian Open. I just kind of was just about to start hitting balls on the range, and my agent comes up to me and says, kind of hands me the phone and says, "You got some great news," and I was like, "I think I know what that means," because my wife was, she was due in a couple weeks with our first child, and but I still had to hear it, and I'm still kind of like, wow, is this happening? And I talked to her, and her water broke, and the process had begun, and I immediately started to pack up and head on home. So 15 hours later, yeah, Zoe Olivia was born. So it was kind of a hectic day to say the least.
Any big plans like for the 1 year birthday party this week?
Well, we already had our birthday party a couple weeks ago because we knew
She's not
it
picky
was going
about
to be.
that then.
No,
Yeah, she
she
doesn't
doesn't
care.
really.
Yeah,
No,
she didn't. She wasn't upset or. So I'm gonna go home Monday. I was Sunday night from Montreal and go home, and because her birthday will be on Monday. So then we'll go to Akron from there.
We'll let Tom get a question in here next, but if you guys are watching live, go ahead and tweet in your questions. Use hashtag
Hmm.
PGA Tour Chat, and we'll get to as many as we can.
Hey Hunter, you really got off to a good start this spring. You had four top tens in a row there, and you were 34th in the FedEx Cup playoffs, in the FedEx Cup standings. And you're one of only three players who's made it to every single playoff event in the 7-year history of the FedEx Cup. But currently you're 68th. So what are your thoughts as the rest of the season's winding down?
Um, I need to play better. I guess those are my thoughts. The game hasn't been bad. It's felt pretty good. It just I haven't been putting the numbers up that I think I'm capable of right now. So, it's one of those things where golf can make you think too much and kind of overreact to things. And I just need to kind of take it one day at a time and just try to keep getting better and make the most out of my time out on the golf course and just play one shot at a time and kind of trust myself and trust my history of like I said, 7 years of great golf. So I just got to keep working and keep playing, and you know, a couple months stretch really isn't something to think too much about and overcomplicate things. I'm trying to simplify things and just try to keep getting better, making good swings, and I know the results will eventually come.
What's interesting is that only two other players can make the same claim, Steve Stricker and Phil Mickelson, and they're both on the outside looking in, kind of struggling. But where you are right now is 68th, and I don't know if you are aware, but there were three guys last year who were outside of 68th who ended up making it all the way to the Tour Championship. Two were Jason Duffner and Jim Furyk, who finished 1-2 at the PGA Championship, so obviously that helped. And then the other was Gary Woodland, who ended up winning in Reno and then almost winning at the Barclays. So it's possible.
Well, it's golf. Things can change that fast, and especially in the FedEx Cup, one good week all of a sudden vaults you 30 to 40 spots. So, I think the best thing to do is not panic or not try too hard and try to do everything you want in 1 week or even one day. Just hit one good shot and try the next one good and keep it going from there and make things simple. This is a complicated game sometimes, and there's a lot of politics to it, and there's all kinds of things we're playing for every single week and every single year, and you got to focus on what you really can control.
Well, we'll get to a couple fan questions in just a second, but this week we're at Royal Montreal, which is a
Hmm.
course that people might not be super familiar with, haven't been there in a little while. I'm wondering what your history is with the course, and then second question, how do you kind of prepare for an event like this that you might recognize the same faces and you might recognize the same setup, but not necessarily the same golf course?
Yeah, this is it's a tournament that jumps around. It kind of moves all over Canada, which it should. There's a lot of amazing golf courses in Canada. A lot of great cities. So and we haven't been in Montreal. I don't know if the last time the RBC Canadian Open's been in Montreal. I think maybe 2001, and we
Yeah.
had the President's Cup here. 2007.
07, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, this is a place. This is a tournament that I feel like I played well at Canadian Opens before and contended and almost won a few of them. And I look forward to playing this week, and I'm excited about playing this tournament because it's a tournament that I really want to win. I've been so close here a few times that it bothers me that I haven't won here yet. So I'm very motivated for this week, and I'm starting to remember a lot of the holes and figure out where my lines are off the tee and what I need to do on each hole and each shot. And it is going to play different this week. It's going to be a little bit drier, even though it did basically rain all morning. Last time the President's Cup was in October, and this one, obviously, this tournament's in July. So ball's going to be jumping a little bit, and the course is definitely a little bit drier than 07.
Go ahead,
I'm
Tom.
sorry. Do you think you have any karma this year because of what happened last year, and that maybe the golf gods will kind of reward you for doing the right thing?
I don't know. I definitely don't want to rely on any golf gods. I need to hit good shots and put myself in good position. It's something that there's not a whole lot of control in this game. The only thing you control is kind of your setup and alignment, and that's about it. From there, you just gotta let it go.
It's a cool event too, from the aspect that the fans get so into it and so behind it. And Canadians are such huge golf fans. I have one Canadian friend who always he'll always be talking about the Open, and I always have to stop and think like he doesn't mean the British Open. He's talking about the Canadian Open. So as somebody who's contended in this event a couple times, I'm sure that's something that you've seen firsthand.
Passion is never lacking in this event or in a Canadian's way of thinking, and I know that they're dying for a Canadian to kind of win this event. They've got some great players, great opportunities to do that this year, and a few guys like David Hearn and Graham DeLette, and I think Mike Weir's playing some good golf again. So there's a lot of good young Canadians as well, and I know they'll end the drought eventually. That's going to be inevitable with all the great talent they have, but hopefully not this year.
Well, before we let you get out of here, we're gonna throw a few fan questions at you, and I know that you've done these hangouts a couple times, so we're gonna stray from the more rudimentary questions. We'll throw a little tougher ones at you here.
I'm ready.
First one from Facebook. I don't know where they came up with this. This is from Kim on Facebook. What's your favorite Tom Petty song? I don't know if you're a Tom Petty fan. I don't know where that
Petty?
came from. Yeah.
Wow. I would say Free Falling because that's the only thing that's coming to my mind right now.
That's classic. Always go with your gut.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
Next one was from Twitter from Kip. He said, "Hey Hunter, did you sell the house yet? How's that going?"
That's going fine. That's going as well as we like.
Okay, that's good. And let's do one more. This is from Steven on Facebook. He said, "What do you feel makes you such a good driver of the golf ball?"
That's a good question. I've always been a good driver of the golf ball even since I was a little kid. It's just, I think it's just kind of one of those weird things that's what I'm good at. That's kind of how I've always swung, and it just works well for the driver. I could explain it to you in kind of crazy terms and TrackMan numbers and all that stuff, but you wouldn't understand it and it'd be boring. So, I think the great thing, the key to good driving is good setup and good posture. And really good tempo and rhythm. It's one of those things that kind of people kind of take the driver back and they're swinging as hard as they can, and the driver's the longest club in your bag, so you got to be as patient as any club and kind of let the length of the club kind of work for you.
The one thing I forgot I wanted to ask you before we let you go is I saw the Under Armour video from a couple weeks ago where you were undercover as a salesman in the Under Armour store. I was curious if there was any good behind the scenes stuff that happened that day that you could share.
I think most of the good stuff is what you saw. I mean this was going to be totally dependent on the people that I was going to kind of work with. I know the first time I went out there, I was like just kind of standing out there, kind of looking around, and none of the employees actually knew what I was actually doing this. So I think they're probably looking at me like, who's this random person that just came out the back with, a shirt on and weird glasses and stuff. So The whole experience was definitely strange. I've never worked in retail, so that was interesting. And by the end of it, I was extremely determined to sell something. I don't think I didn't, but I would have stayed there longer just to sell something, just to say I did.
The thing that made it so perfect was there's the giant sign of you
Yeah, well,
up
yeah.
on the
And there was
It's
a
just-
screen. I don't know if they saw they have these huge probably 80-inch screens that are kind of encompass the center of it, and they're just playing images of me. So it was an ego trip for sure.
Is that out of the ordinary? I'm curious, like when you go out in public, how often are you recognized or hounded for selfies or autographs or anything like that? I'm just curious.
Yeah, yeah. In Dallas, I'm probably
Yeah.
recognized. I recognize more. Obviously, that's where I live. Definitely out on the road and on some events, you'll definitely be recognized because people know that the tour's in town. But I'm always recognized way more than I expect and than I think.
Yeah.
I'm always surprised that people actually do recognize me in normal street clothes without wearing a Ping hat and an Under Armour and an RBC logo shirt. That
Yeah.
I kind of stand out at that time. But when I'm not wearing that stuff, I'm always surprised. I really am.
All right. Well, Hunter, good luck this week, and thank you for taking a couple minutes to talk with us. And enjoy the rest of the day. Stay
Yeah,
dry.
and a trophy makes a really nice 1-year-old birthday gift.
Yeah.
I
Perfect.
agree. Thanks, guys.
All right. See ya.